Hey, what's up there? Dr. Gerald Ogier from Simply Cyber, and in this video, I've got a very special interview lined up for you with someone who's not only breaking ground in cybersecurity research, but also inspiring the next generation of cyber professionals, even though he's only 23 years old. I had the opportunity to sit down with Or Yair at Blackhat 2024, and if you're not familiar with Or, he's a cybersecurity researcher at Safebreach who's made absolute waves with his innovation work in offensive security and vulnerability research. In this conversation, Or shared his insights into what drives him to push the limits of cybersecurity, his passion for finding and exposing vulnerabilities, and most importantly, how he believes others like you can follow a similar path to make an impact on our industry. So whether you're an aspiring researcher, a seasoned pro, or just someone interested in cybersecurity, I promise you're gonna find this interview both insightful and inspiring. So without further ado, let's dive into the interview with Or Yair from Safebreach. Let's roll. What initially drew you to working in cybersecurity?
When I was in middle school and high school, I started programming before I got to this age. When they teach it, I just studied programming. I saw that I really like it. Once I reached the time where you recruit to the army in Israel, I was already doing a lot of programming and I was good at it. My education in the army was partially for development and partially for research as well. Once I got into it, I saw that just that the research part draws me much more than development, because I felt like I really liked software development before, but I had times when it felt repetitive. Like, you know what you want to do. So let's say, okay, you created an Android application. Now you want to create another one. So you have the same elements that you know that you want to put inside, same, I don't know, HTTP requests that you want to send between the server and the client, and it's pretty repetitive. You know that you can do it. And once I approached research, I saw that I don't know that I can do it. I can hope that I can do it. So it's like a game. You have something to be competitive about. It's like a challenge that you need to solve all the time.
What does Safebreach Labs do?
Safebreach Labs specifically develops attacks for the breach and attack simulation product that Safebreach has. So basically, breach and attack simulation is a product that simulates attacks in your organization. So you can install agents across your organization and have these agents basically simulate attacks on their safe side without hurting anything, in order to make sure whether the attacks work and whether your security controls stopped it and which one stopped it. So this gives you the ability to schedule simulation of attacks and see, for instance, if you run all the attacks every week, so you can see that there was a shift suddenly, if suddenly one attack succeeds, so maybe someone's changed some configuration or something. You can see that the security controls that security companies sell you actually do what they tell you that they're doing. Because, for instance, someone sells you an EDR, they tell you you're safe, this EDR protects against anything. How can you really know that? Do you have a way to validate that? No, not unless you use breach and attack simulation. So this is what Safebreach Labs specifically do inside Safebreach. We develop the attacks that go into this breach and attack simulation framework.
What keeps you motivated to keep pushing the field?
I want to prove myself that I can be the best. I can't explain exactly where it comes from, but I just know that since I was a little child, I always knew that I wanted to do something great in tech and someday start my own company as well. Nothing that I'll do soon, but I know that it's somewhere in the future. It was always in me. I knew that I wanted to aim high.
Can you share your current research and what bigger implications do you see for our lives?
The most researched one is the one that we're going to present at DEF CON, Shmuel Cohen and myself. It started when we saw that Google released a version of their file transfer solution that is equivalent to AirDrop. They released such a program for Windows. So basically, it used to be called Nearby Share, now it's called Quick Share, but we thought that it's Google's first time probably doing such an application for Windows with so many communication methods. So they use Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, WebRTC, NFC, Wi-Fi Direct, and many more. And so these are APIs that are never used on Windows. So we thought that it might be very cool to investigate Quick Share in general. And Specifically on Windows, that's a new thing. And we also saw that there was no too much past research on the subject, like since 2019, and it was just on the API that it uses. So we chose that, and basically what we managed to pull off is that we found 10 different vulnerabilities in QuickShare, 9 of them in Windows and 1 in Android. So we managed to send file without authorization, force another device to connect to your Wi-Fi without running code in it, just forcing it to do it. And basically from these vulnerabilities and others, we just assembled something very unconventional and very creative. Like, I'm very proud of it, that eventually achieved RCE. So our final goal was to achieve remote code execution, but we just had 10 vulnerabilities that seemed okay. Like, you can do very specific things, nothing that has a known practice that you know that you can assemble an RCE chain from. But we still did something very unconventional that allowed us to run code on remote computers. So that's the research. As far as its impact goes, I think that first, QuickShare for Windows is meant to be pre-installed on some Windows computers. So basically, Google announced that they're working with leading PC manufacturers to pre-install QuickShare for Windows on some Windows computers. So for instance, they mentioned LG. Now QuickShare is also a cooperation between Google and Samsung. So I guess that it will be pre-installed on Samsung as well, as the previous version of QuickShare, which belonged only to Samsung, was installed on Samsung computers. So it kind of concerns Windows security as well. So first, like, the most simple thing is that we prevented this RCE chain and all of these vulnerabilities from being in QuickShare. And the second thing that is more about the concept of the talk is that we showed that from a set of vulnerabilities, some would look more critical, but some would look pretty basic, like denial of service, like crashing an app or something like that, something that doesn't look like it has a serious security implication. Some of these vulnerabilities were still key elements in assembling the final RCE chain. So what we think it can show the world is that sometimes organizations think that there are some known issues or bugs or vulnerabilities that look like they have a low security risk, but these things might be the thing that will allow a much more critical chain to be enabled. So we think that you should not always underestimate bugs that look like they don't pose such a threat.
What area of research do you find most promising for the next few years?
I think that there are going to be, of course, a lot of research about AI, like everyone talks about it. I think that AI is also something that will just amplify the other risks that we have. So for instance, if you have AI that knows how to generate a good malware, that knows how to evade things, then eventually the malware will not use AI while it's running. The thing that we're experiencing right now is that AI lowers the bar for people to enter and perform malicious activities because they don't have to know everything themselves. So it's not like AI is always the risk, but AI just amplifies also current risks that we have. So I think that pretty much everything, like, AI is going to grow a bit faster than everything else, but generally all the threats are going to be amplified a bit. Like, I can't estimate how much because of the usage of AI. So I think that at least us in Safebreach Labs, the thing that we focus on is like creative research, and it could be various things. Like this research, we worked on QuickShare, which is an Android thing, file transfer. My previous research was on a known issue in Windows that allowed some weird things to happen. Basically, I think that we're just going to shoot wherever there's a creative idea that we can pull off something, like some unexplored attack surface.
What attracted you to work at Safebreach?
It's this specific thing that, like, we can basically choose whatever we want to research. So that's a lot of freedom. And in addition, the ecosystem and like our managers really believe that we can aim the highest and achieve the highest. So before, it's true that I was in cybersecurity and I was already a researcher and like I was educated, and yet I never conducted the research in order to submit to Blackhat or DEF CON. Like, that sounds crazy. It's like aiming for the Olympics. You're just someone who does jogging, and someone comes and tells you, like, you can be in the Olympics with that. So that drew me because, as I told you, like, since I was a child, I wanted to do something great in tech. It's that, and it's the fact that it comes with a lot of freedom, utilizing creativity, and I think that this is something that I'm good at. And combining all of these things together is just really fun. To go on stage, know that like the world has been waiting for something that you'll publish now. Yeah, it's a lot of things.
What advice would you give to other young people looking to become cybersecurity researchers?
Basically, I think that there are two types of people, which I think is completely okay to be either. Like, it just depends on what your motivation is and what type of person you are, what do you like, and how you prefer to live your life. So basically, there will be people that are like convenience, I think, that like that they have their job and like they went and did everything by the book. They went to the university, they studied hard, they got their first job, and like they're starting to learn, they do another degree, and like they're progressing in their job, they get a promotion. That's like one way to do your career. The other way, which I think usually people who would excel specifically in this profession can do, is to study everything on their own, because I think that there's very strong correlation between your odds in being very successful in cybersecurity to your capabilities of studying this field on your own and through friends and through the internet. Because eventually, even after you study in the university, you study computer science, let's say that you did a few courses in cybersecurity, maybe you did a second degree as well, the stuff that you learn in the university is specific to the time where you learned it. So for instance, you did your classes and then 2 years after, AI comes. So you have so many things to learn. You're not going to the university again to learn about AI. So in any case, you have to know how to study well on your own. So if you practice that from the beginning and you learn the basics on your own, of course, validate that you study them well, like with a friend or something that can guide you, then I think that you'll train yourself to be much better when you'll need to study things that no one knows. So that's also what you do every day in research. You basically need to learn and study how that thing works while no one knows it. This is a capability that you must develop anyways.
What future research and projects can people expect to see from you?
What I can tell you is that we're not going to see something specific. Like, we're not going to see a single type of research. What we're going to see is basically anything that I have the basic understanding of diving into is a valid attack surface for me and for Safebreach Labs to get creative about and think like what could be the problems first in high level. Where does like bad logic lies and like something that nobody thought about, and that can be in various things. Usually it will be very different things as well, because once you touched one, then you move on to the other. I cannot promise what type of research I will do. I can promise that it will not be one. It will be many.
Wow. Okay. I hope you got value from that interview. I have another interview on the channel with Or. I'm going to link to it right there. Go ahead and check that out if you enjoyed it. Thanks so much. And until next time, stay secure.